Radio Rahim here at Brick House Boxing, the hallowed ground in Los Angeles, the hottest gym on this coast.
Absolutely. The Brick
Sitting
House
with my main man, Malik Scott. We don't get a chance to do this in person very often, so I cherish these moments.
We used to when you wasn't as busy, but you're high demand now, baby. So radio high demand.
I'll take that because I jumped the puddle, man. Mm-hmm. I'm on the other side of the pond.
Absolutely.
So, this is my old stomping ground, though. To be fair, you are in the land of radio.
Yeah.
And what I always love is whenever I find you here, you are always right on top of training somebody, whether it be championship caliber or weekend warrior.
Yes, absolutely.
They're getting the best schooling possible. I know that you're a busy trainer, but I also know that your relationship with your main fighter is always paramount in your mind. So we haven't seen Deontay since Saudi. Saudi's coming up again with another event. And so it's kind of top of mind speculation. You know how the boxing world works. Everybody's
absolutely
got an opinion and also has a prediction. Yeah. But nobody really knows where Deontay's mind is at when it comes to fighting again and how you feel as a trainer as to whether or not that's what's right for your man.
Well, Deontay, fighting is a part of who he is. Like, you know what I mean? We got 2025 coming up, so we'll see how he feel. But right now, I just talked to him last night. He's feeling good about life. He's dealing with recovery over some physical issues he's had to take care of, so now he have the time. You know, we came up short in that fight, but life has went on, and he has, just had certain surgeries he needed done, certain recoveries he needed to do. And we'll see what 2025 look like. But fighting is a part of him, so Deontay will fight again.
Yeah, people don't really think about the wear and tear that goes into boxing, and in between fights, you tend not to recover properly, take care of yourself because the next thing is coming. You don't want to be recovering from an injury. You want to be in camp.
Yes.
So is it possible that this layoff, if a return is imminent, could bring a better Wilder than we saw last time out?
Most definitely, because even though while he's laying off now, like I said, he's been recovering. Last night he was on the weight circuit. He was lifting some weights. He's been doing some boxing, not at the level we do when we're in training camp, but he's been keeping himself fresh. But, to turn the coin on that at the same time, we on the second half of his career. So a long layoff wouldn't do him the same type of justice as it would have done before. So, it's about crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and it's like at times it's about which one, picking out the best of the worst sometimes. And I say that meaning like, okay, I've done what I had to do in this game. I became heavyweight champion. I lost 2 fights back to back, so now I want to take off. But taking off is not good for my fighting, for me to stay busy. That wouldn't be beneficial to me. So if I'm him, I will be doing exactly what he's doing right now, resting, being heavy into real estate, and focusing on 2025 on the comeback, because he will fight again.
Fortunately, the way the boxing world is working, especially now, the game moves fast, and the heavyweight division is impacted with talent and opportunity.
It's always coming through. Yes,
it's always coming through.
Yes,
there's no secret that His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh is a big fan of the heavyweight division, so he seems to stay focused on keeping those fighters active and keeping the matchups coming, which bodes well for those at the upper echelon, which I think Deontay Wilder still is in that mix. He's still a one knockout punch fighter. He's still got potential matchups that people want to see. But since his last fight, the table has definitely gotten shuffled.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let me take you back just a month ago to the Joshua Dubois fight.
Absolutely.
Which, by all accounts, was a major upset. Everybody thought Josh was going to come through, that he was going to be probably facing Fury next, and all this. Everything kind of got tossed out the window.
Yeah.
But for me, that leaves the door open still, even all these years later, all these fights in between for Joshua Wilder. I think that's as exciting to me, especially if it comes before the summer of next year, like instead of Joshua Fury, if Joshua Wilder be able to make maybe first half of 25, that's more exciting to me than Joshua Fury.
Yeah, well, I was about to say to me too, but obviously I'm the head trainer, so I would say that. But not being a cliche, look at my previous interviews. I've always been very high and keen on Joshua and Deontay sharing the ring together. I still can't even fathom the fact that they haven't fought each other in this long time. Two dynamic heavyweights in our time, and now we're going into another time, and they still haven't shared the ring with each other. That's the sad part about boxing, but at the same time, that's where you have to give Turkey his credit at, because I think if anybody has been willing to make the fight happen, and the strongest route has been him. But at the same time, the fighters got to do their part and win certain fights to make the fight happen. And unfortunately, we came up short at a time Joshua came up good. And that fight was supposed to happen, but we lost to Joseph Parker and Joshua beat Otto Wallin. So the way how things happen in boxing, like I always say, it's like a Z. Nothing is never parallel, so it's one of those things.
Now, having experienced everything that you've gotten through with the Wilder corner and everything that you've seen Joshua go through, how has this matchup changed from what it would have been to what it could be?
Very good question, Radio. Very good question, because I'm going to tell you why it's a good question first, because you're asking that according to the circumstance, right? And the circumstances have changed, and it just have. Both have lost, both have got knocked out, and both are older right now. So then if I were to look at it, I would look at it like, well, who's more susceptible to get hit and who take the best shot? I think it comes down to that now. And we all know who punches the hardest. And in my opinion, Deontay has a better chin than AJ. But I think AJ put together punches better than Deontay, combination-wise. Like, even if he missed, he's not out of his base. I was very, very surprised that the way he went about going to go for the finish against Dubois, because he's never really, to me, just led with a right uppercut like that. There's times like I've seen him lead with hooks and things like that, but I was very surprised he did it that way. And I think like overcommitting like that against Deontay is where you meet your fate, because that's his specialty, and that's definitely my specialty as a head trainer. I love when I can get fighters to overcommit and then my guy makes them pay. So I still would pick Deontay by knockout. But it's such an intriguing fight still. I still would, if I was a fan of it like I am, I still would pay to go see it. It's a blessing I would be a part of it. But either way, I want them to go share the ring.
What do you ascribe that decision to? Because you're not the first or the only one who was surprised that that is what Joshua chose to do with what seemed to be such a classic kind of boxing mistake, to lead with an uppercut. Your left hand is down. Dubois is able to counterpunch with the straight right hand. Like all of these things, of course, in hindsight seem obvious. But maybe in the moment, what would make that a good idea? Why do you think he chose to take that route?
The peculiar thing about this fight is, one, I want to say I'm extremely, extremely proud of Don Charles. That's for starters. The minute that Dubois won, I have no problem with Dubois, nothing like that, but I immediately thought of Don Charles, and I was extremely happy for him, because as a fighter and as a trainer, I watched him come through the rankings, and pay his dues and really, really take the good and bad in this noble art. So for him to get a heavyweight champion on his time, on that night against Anthony Joshua, all respect to Don Charles, I want to say that. Now, coming from a technical standpoint, I don't see how anybody besides Dubois' team would have picked Dubois if we're going off of latest fights. I counted myself 14 to 17 right hands he got hit with by Malik Scott in the first 6 minutes of the fight. I thought it was humanly impossible for someone to beat Joshua that get hit with that many right hands. But was I wrong? And that's the sexy thing about the sport. You could film study it, you could see it. Fighters can make mistakes, fighters could do this, but on the night it's about who could put it together. And on the night, it wasn't just Dubois' technicalities. It wasn't just his strong power. It was the morale he had behind his whole system. His walk to the ring, the taste of the music, it probably was okay, but his demeanor, he came to take charge. He came to take over, and he came to put fear in his presence on AJ immediately. And I believe AJ felt that immediately, because he chose to disengage right off the rip. He didn't choose to stand some ground and get some respect back. You got to give credit to Don Charles. Dubois' dad, Daniel Dubois, the man who did the job. And it's just one of them things that make heavyweight boxing very exciting, because if I had to pick, I picked AJ to win between, 4-7, whatever I did. And I was wrong. But I enjoy being wrong on things like that, because it's more educating for me. It lets me know that you never could be as sure in this boxing game, especially in the heavyweight division. So it was a good night for the heavyweight division as far as I'm concerned.
The big question, of course, on the night and since, does Joshua want the rematch straight away? Of course, on the night, Eddie Hearn was adamant, it's Joshua's choice, but we want to go right back in. This is our straight line to another heavyweight championship, 3 times lucky, let's go.
Right.
But since then, it's gotten kind of quiet.
It got quiet, yes. And I think it's like very noticeably quiet, so everyone has noticed that has went down. And I think Eddie Hearn, I believe this, right? I truly believe, I know we're in the game where promoters are looked at like scumbags, right? Like, scumbags. Yes. And promoters are looked at like, I truly believe Eddie Hearns has an emotional and compassionate attachment to Anthony Joshua. I could be wrong, but if I had to bet on it, I would bet that he do have a compassionate connection with him, right? And I believe in the heat of the moment after a fight of Dubois knocking AJ out, I believe in the heat of the moment, Eddie Hearns wants to rematch more than Anthony Joshua may want it. You see the walk to the ring, I've never seen Eddie Hearn or no promoter that amped before a fight. Eddie Hearn really, he enjoys to cry when his fighters win or have big nights. He enjoys the thrill of this. So I just think in the moment, Eddie Hearns may have want the rematch immediately, but it's the fighter decision, because also you don't hear AJ saying, I need to rematch ASAP, I want the rematch, but then, AJ treat the media a certain kind of way. What he really want, he may don't feel like expressing right now. He'll express it when the fight is signed, but it don't seem like there's no urgency to get this rematch, and, it's just one of those things.
I mean, as a trainer, obviously you're not his trainer, and we all know ultimately it's up to the fighter, but the way that fight went and what it would mean for Joshua to get knocked out twice back-to-back by the same fighter, if it happened the same way or worse, is it what they like to say these days, is it worth rolling the dice? Or do you rebuild? Again, we were talking about a fighter who isn't as young as he once was, all the things that we know go into this decision. What's the bigger gamble? What's the smarter play?
I think you have to assess what part of your career you're on. If it was an early knockout, like Andy Ruiz was, I say you go right back at the rematch. This is a second half knockout. He's on the second half of his career. I would still say you go right back for the rematch, because time is of the essence. Like, you know what I mean? And what AJ going to do, he's going to get some build-up fight. Because to me, he's at the point of his career now where his competition still has to be in the top 10. And in my opinion, anybody in the top 10 has a good chance of beating Anthony Joshua right now. That always wasn't the thing. But just because we get older, just because this good chin you used to have, you may not have it no more, because you went 12, 11 hard rounds with Vladimir Klitschko. You went 8-6 rounds with Dylan White. You went this many rounds with Pulev. The human superpower thing is non-existent. We all get this wear and tear. So I would think, keeping that in mind, you would want to face the mirror, go right back at your demon, and face it again and hopefully conquer it.
To that point, you go 3 fights with Deontay Wilder.
Yes.
Third fight, 5 knockdowns total.
Yes.
In my estimation, one of the most underrated heavyweight championship fights of all time.
Yeah,
I think it might take a few years for another generation of fans to look back and really appreciate that fight. It's one of the, as far as me sitting ringside, that's the best heavyweight fight I've ever been to. Yeah. People don't really talk about it that way.
It was a thrill.
It was a monster. And again, I don't believe anybody who told you they saw that coming or thought the fight was going to be that
lying.
Contentious.
Yeah, they didn't know that.
They lying. They lying, bro.
Right.
So we see then Fury struggle with Ngannou and then lose to Usyk. Could the wear and tear from the Wilder fights have played a part in that? And is he able to come back in that rematch, which he will do straight away in just a couple of months, and claim victory back from Oleksandr Usyk?
I picked Usyk by stoppage in the first fight. It has really nothing to do with it. Everything comes from a place of styles to me. I just think Usyk is a smaller heavyweight that fight big men very well. And I say that because he challenges him, but he don't challenge him from a brute strength standpoint. He challenges him from a feint game. He challenged him with his foundation of his feet. He challenging him by pop shotting him. He challenging him by hitting him with shots that they don't see coming. The shot that really hurt Fury was the same shot that was hitting him all night. It was the blind shot going around with the left hook from a southpaw standpoint. So imagine if you getting hit with that same shot while you're fresh. Now you get fatigued. This is why most people, even myself, like I could understand why AJ, I said I didn't, but the inner me that come from this noble art, I could understand why he just threw the right uppercut with his chin up, because in the midst of just getting hit, your brain is shaky. You're just trying to make things right. He don't know that he's doing that. Fighters don't know. That's why you have teachers in your corner to let you know that that shot you're choosing, that's not the shot. Because I'm seeing what you're not seeing. He didn't know he was throwing that right uppercut like this. Don't forget, he just got knocked down. How many times? 2 or 3 times?
Right.
He was very discombobulated. He's trying to make things right. I feel that when fighters don't drill, especially when they tired, the type of thing with Tyson Fury and Usyk happens. You get hit with a shot early, you shake your head. You get hit with the same shot, third or fourth round, you shake your head and laugh. Now that 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds have passed, you're tired. You're not the same fighter you was in the first round. So now when that shot hits you, it's hitting a different person. It's hitting a much more fatigued person. Now you know that because the effect that has happened. That same shot hit Fury early in the fight a couple times. He took it very well. But when you're fatigued, especially if you're not used to drilling while you're tired, those type of things can happen to you. Like in that shot, he got hit with that long left hook. Like I said, he was getting hit with the shot all night, but it hurt him more when he got fatigued and he didn't see it coming. And that's what Usyk is very good at. He's good at, obviously, he's not a heavy-handed guy, but what he is, he can hurt you very well because he hits you with blind shots, the shots you don't see coming, and he know how to use his feet very well to create an angle to hit you with the shots that you don't see coming. So it's a lot of science, it's a lot of technical, and it's a lot of morale behind his style. He's just not a good boxer. He's an incredible man, too. You know what I mean? So the morale behind the style is everything. Why, to me, in my opinion, he may stop Fury this time.
There's some outliers here, some wild cards that I think, while they've had a good showing this year, haven't gotten the big opportunity. I think Joseph Parker might be on the cusp of having an opportunity if Joshua really doesn't.
No one
take
deserves
this
a shot more than Joseph Parker. I don't. This what Joseph Parker is going through or not going through is the frustrating part to me about boxing. He beat 2 guys. He beat us, then he beat Zhang, 2 guys that they didn't think he was going to beat. So he throws a wrench into the game plan of all of us, right? So what's the reward from it? The reward from it comes across as if he's being shelved, which is extremely not fair. What's wrong with Joseph Parker? Marketable, talk well, respects everybody, has fought the best at a high level very well, has two very significant wins back to back. Why isn't he like getting these, forget opportunities, he's in title contention. His next fight should be a title eliminator. Not even I'm gonna say he should be fighting for a world title next.
I mean, this
if Dubois and AJ don't fight,
right,
to me, Joseph Parker should be fighting Dubois. Not because he's my friend or anything like that, because he deserves it.
Right. I think that's what is likely to happen if AJ doesn't take this rematch.
Yes.
Again, I'm just guessing.
Yes,
right?
like
But
we
based
all
on
are.
what we know.
Yes.
I think that does make sense. I don't see another opponent out there that, as you say, deserves it more. And it's a damn interesting fight.
Yes, it is.
I mean, okay,
Yes,
let's say that is what's on the table. How do you see that fight going?
What I do see is I see Dubois. One thing I give credit to Dubois for is his style, and it works perfectly because Don Charles is incredible at teaching this style. He's beat me with this style. He's beat so many guys with this style. It's right off the rip, starting at a pace that your opponent is not used to having. So I believe that he will have Dubois come right out and hop on Joseph Parker. I don't know no one that never had success with Joseph Parker that didn't just hop right on him. Joe Joyce's style is get right to you. He gave Joseph Parker problems. He eventually beat him. Andrew Ruiz, was out of shape, but his style was to get right to Joe, and that fight was a very close fight. If you give Joe time to think, if you give Joe like a buffer in between you and him, not only can he pick you apart, but he could end up stopping you because he's much more heavy-handed than he's getting credit for. There's a reason that Zhang wasn't just walking right to him. There's a reason that, and it's not because of me, it's a reason that, Deontay wasn't just going all out with his chin up and just going at Joseph Parker with no respect. There's a reason, and the reason is Joseph Parker. Like, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I believe it's a very good fight because Dubois is just going to come and push the pace right off the rip. He doesn't waste no time. He's a very courageous young man. And I believe Joseph Parker is going to have to deal with that. Now, Joseph Parker having to deal with that, to me, is at a perfect time because Joseph Parker is in the best shape of his life he's ever been in, because him and his strength trainer, George, and his boxing trainer, Andy Lee, they have been doing some incredible work together. So all of this time, Joseph Parker has been not even taken off, that he's just been basically not having no activity. He's about to be his next opponent. I don't care who it is. They're going to have their hands full. I seen him the other day when I was at, not the other day, last month when I was at Dubois and AJ fight. We spent a lot of time together. His body's like this. He's in good shape. He's extremely mobile. You know what I mean? He's ready to go. He's talking positive. So me personally, I would love to see him and Daniel Dubois fight next.
Before I let you go, there's always going to be critics.
Yes.
They're going to be writers, they're going to be commentators, and they're going to be fellow athletes and trainers who take their shots, especially when a man is down.
Especially when a man
is
or perceived to be down, right.
There it is. And if Wilder is headed back towards the ring especially, all the questions are going to be asked, all the doubts are going to be made public.
Yes.
As you have had to deal with the fallout of losing two back-to-back fights with the former heavyweight champion, and by a lot of people's estimation, mine included, having imparted to Wilder skills that he needed to fill out his repertoire as a fighter, but then the results not coming to bear post-Fury as like, okay, well, what did these skills garner him?
Right.
What's the result?
And the results didn't come against, to me, two of the most avoided heavyweights in the division right now, Zhang and Joseph Parker. Our two losses came from them. Could Deontay beat them? Yes. But we have to consider the competition. We have to consider the system behind the competition, the good trainers. I didn't hear no one saying anything about this when we knocked out Robert Helenius. I didn't hear anyone saying this when we had a hell of a trilogy against Fury. So what I mean by that is I didn't hear anyone saying it. So humans are just going to be humans. And I don't expect the typical consumers to understand this noble art. And now I'm getting to the point that I don't even expect some of the noble artists from this game to understand it. What's up, B? Good. To understand it. So, it just, I wouldn't say it surprises me, but man, you know how it is. I'm one of the best trainers in the world. I'm headed to the Hall of Fame. I have one of the best boxing minds in this game. And I'm saying this about myself. And I'm humble, but I truly believe this about myself when it comes from a standpoint of teaching. You know what I mean?
Right. So, just like in a coach, when the team loses, certainly a fighter, when he loses, the trainer probably doesn't get enough credit when he wins, but takes a lot of blame when it goes down. We all know that Derek Chisora is no shrinking violet. He says a lot of things, some of them more serious than others, but he had been putting the stick to you in person, and then in my interview, not only taking shots at not just Wilder's skill, but his heart. I won't. He called him the P word. I won't repeat the exact word. Female genitalia is a coarse word for that. And
I got you, radio.
Blamed you for turning him into that.
Right.
How do you respond to that assessment of what's happened to Wilder's career and your part in it?
Right. Well, you said Derek said that to me to my face. Before the camera came on, I was there just watching the weigh-in. Derek comes up to me, "Hey Malik, man, how you been, man? How's your family?" Doing all the fluff that he do. And I'm like, "Good, man, how's your family?" He said in the third, I go back to doing it. 2 minutes, he turned around with delicious camera in my face. So he approaches me on a place of buddy, but then he did that to go to. Now don't forget, I'm to me as real as it get. I don't know how to go about that kind of business, shaking someone's hand and then doing this, but I have a motive on getting views for an interview against someone that I'm always indirectly checking on. Because did Derek Chisora think I was whack when he constantly called my phone and was trying to get in touch with Deontay to have discussions with Deontay about how he think Fury gloves was loaded on him too? Was I a whack trainer then when every time you see me, you come up to me and shake my hand? Am I a whack trainer then? And if I am, we need to sit down and discuss that, not through delicious TV. But then again, it's Derek though. So you know what comes with it. Derek talks shit about everybody. And boxers and people in this game are where they have me beat at. They know how to be cool like this and then literally go on the camera and like disrespect you. I don't know nothing about that game and I don't want to know nothing about that game. If you feel a certain way about me, when you see me, just don't say nothing to me. But if you feel a certain way about me and you see me, you want to approach me, let's talk about that. Like, you know what I mean? So Derek doing that is not shocking at all. Like, you know what I mean? Because Derek, he has this thing. I just seen him the other day with Connor Ben.
Yeah.
You know, and Connor Ben was like, man, why you talking? Derek said, I talk shit about everybody. So God bless him. When I see him, I think about his health. I don't even think about boxing. I just be wanting the best for him as far as health. Because CTE is a serious thing. It's a serious thing. You know what I mean? And I don't want to see Derek Chisora constantly in these wars after wars after wars he going through. I want to see him playing with his kids 10 years from now. I don't want to see him having Parkinson's. I don't want to see him stumbling. I don't want to see that. So he could get away with stuff like that with people like me because I know better. And the fact that I know better, I want better for him.
All right, well, we want better for you.
Zero. Ay, Dios míos, papi. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah.
We can do it now, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a busy gym, and I appreciate all your time.
You know I respect you. I'm looking in your eyes telling you that, and I say that, you know what I mean?
You know we respect each other.
God
You're
bless
my
you,
brother and
my
uncle, always. Radio Rahim.
Peace.
With Malik Scott.
Yes.